Hi, good morning, everybody. We will get started right here in just about 1 minute with the Boardable webinar. So thanks so much for being early and attending. We're excited to jump into the content. And just a reminder, we usually set off these webinars with just a quick opportunity for you to introduce yourself, just your name. We usually capture your name, but if you want to say where you're from and what your organization that's always fun to kind of see and hear. We usually, I feel like New Zealand usually wins for the furthest away from us here in Indianapolis, but we really get folks from all over. All right, we're going to go ahead and dive into the content. So this webinar is really focused on unlocking board potential, which is really stems from the feedback we get from many of you as administrators that I really want my board to use Boardable more. I love Boardable. I'm seeing a lot of value, and I really want them to see that same value, right? And so we're here to kind of address that head on and provide you the tools, the resources, the messages, all of those things that you might want and need to really allow you to get your board to also see that same value that all of you are seeing today with Boardable. A couple of quick housekeeping items before we really dive into the content. There is a questions icon at the bottom of your screen. That's the best place to ask any questions that you have. We will make sure that 100% of those get followed up with directly if they're not answered today on the webinar. But also feel free to use the chat if you'd like to just discuss something or share a comment or share something that you really like. All of those things are still welcome in the chat, but that questions functionality is going to be where we'll make sure that you get a follow-up. David, my colleague from the product team, as well as our director of marketing, Levon, are managing the chat and managing the questions. So somebody will be there and be able to answer those right away. So we'll go ahead and jump in. I'd love to introduce the other Boardable team members that are on this call today and are really going to share their areas of expertise. So Sandy and Ilaria are both from our customer success team. And so day in and day out, hopefully many of you have met them, done a training with these two wonderful professionals, but day in and day out, they're really the ones that are working with customers and understand the pain points and understand kind of the challenges that sometimes you all have as executive directors, as admins, as the folks that are really spearheading Boardable and Boardable adoption within your organization. So no two better people to be talking about this with today. I'll share a little bit more about what we're going to cover in the next slide as we kind of go through the agenda. The agenda is pretty straightforward. We're going to address those board member hesitations first. Why our board members, who are oftentimes volunteer board members in our world, in the nonprofit world, why are they hesitant to adopt Boardable? So we're going to understand that a little bit more. We'll provide a Boardable overview really from the standpoint of the board member. Like, what is that experience like for them consuming the content? Oftentimes you as the admin, are creating the content, creating the meetings. What's it like to consume it? We'll provide some practical tips and then provide some more opportunities for questions. So let's go ahead and dive in. And I'm going to hand it over to Sandy, who's really going to dive into this kind of challenges that our volunteer board members oftentimes have. And then we'll dig in a little bit deeper from there.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Hey, everyone. Very nice to meet you. I am Sandy On. I serve as a senior account manager at Boardable. My role is to support our customers in their growth and scale for a long-term partnership with Boardable. So in short, we're here to add value to your board. What we know for certain is that once our customers leverage Boardable, they see the value and board members love it. But board members are volunteers. Most of our board members are giving their time on a volunteer basis, which is super generous of them. But that also means they're balancing a lot with work, family, maybe other volunteer gigs too. So the thought of burnout or not having enough hours in a day is very real for them. Plus, we've got a mix of comfort levels with technology, as we know. This is why we need to put ourselves in the shoes of board members and really empower them, because Boardable is the most valuable when there is high adoption. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Jenny, Director of Product Marketing, to share some insights from our recent customer survey.
Awesome. We're constantly devouring content when it comes to nonprofits and what's happening in the nonprofit space and trends. And what Sandy just shared is a really good overview of us understanding the nonprofit space. But we also kind of took a pause this year and said, what are our customers saying? If we can just ask them in a survey, like what are our actual Boardable customers saying? So this was our state of customer survey insights report, which really hopefully a lot of you took this survey. But the kind of headline is that as a whole, 73% of Boardable customers today feel like they're doing an effective job in engaging with boards and with their board and volunteers. This is awesome. This is really promising. We hope and believe that a piece of this has to do with you leveraging Boardable. But first off, just like congratulations, because so many of you are feeling like you're doing an effective job, something that I frankly firsthand know is really hard to do. A couple of other highlights from this report was that frontline mission work is still where a majority of time is being spent, but staff management and training, as well as board meeting prep and executions, were also big areas where a lot of you reported that you were spending a good deal of time. So I don't know if you want to drop in the chat if this rings true for your organization, or if yours might be a totally different weighting. That'd be really interesting to see over there. And then the top challenges were fundraising, operational efficiency, marketing and community outreach, and collaboration and communication. While Boardable, really can hit on all of these, the operational efficiency and the collaboration and communication are areas where we believe when Boardable is fully implemented, fully adopted, can really make a positive impact for your organization. So we're going to jump in once again to another poll where we're asking our customers, trying to understand where our customers are at on these things, is what is your board's biggest hesitation in adopting new technology like Boardable? I'll give you guys all a second to submit your votes and kind of see those come in. Okay, it looks like the majority of you have had a chance to read those responses and submit your vote. Two clear winners here, concerns about the learning curve and tech savviness, and then just the effort and time to require to transition to a new system. So I feel like the content that we're getting ready to share really addresses both of these items. So I'm excited to keep plowing through this and getting Ilaria and Sandy to share a little bit more with you to kind of address these challenges and hesitations. So we can go ahead and move forward, and I'm going to hand it over for a Boardable overview and kind of digging into those details.
Perfect. As we know, Boardable was built specifically to help nonprofit organizations overcome challenges and do more for their mission. To give an example, our friends at Visit Mountaineer Country Convention and Visitors Bureau, they're a nonprofit in the travel and hospitality industry. They're the largest destination marketing organization in North Central West Virginia. So as you can imagine, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, they were heavily impacted. The pandemic forced their team to pivot, change strategy. So to remain productive with a smaller team and a big challenge, their president and CEO, Susan Riddle, searched for tools to help streamline communication with their staff and the board of directors. From centralizing documents securely to stay organized and efficient in their day-to-day, to offering easy ways for the board to collaborate and staying engaged, this amazing customer found ways to streamline operations, maximize efficiency, and came out with a more engaged board and effective team. I especially love how Susan shared in a quote, which you can find in a public case study, which reads, "The minutes can now be taken with almost your eyes closed because most of your content is already there." And I believe Susan is registered for the webinar, so here's a quick shout out to her and her incredible team. Some additional nuggets of value from Boardable is that you have the ability to collect and report on the unique information that is important to your board, such as specific DEI data points for compliance, so you can see what attributes and skill sets you might need to recruit for during an upcoming board transition. Overall, with a board that runs and collaborates smoothly, you're able to get a lot more done and attract board members who want to give their gifts and talents to your organization. Moving forward to board member impact on the next slide. Boardable is designed to be your all-in-one solution for board management. We're here to help you stay engaged with your board. For starters, Boardable makes it super simple to hop into meetings. Just a quick tap and they're in. Plus, board members can easily see what's coming up with future meetings or review past ones, thanks to quick access to meeting agendas and minutes. And they get to join in on discussions, look at documents, making it easier than ever to dive into board and committee priorities. It's all about making their experiences smoother and more connected. I know our customer at the Central Florida Foundation is a fantastic example of Boardable significantly increasing their board engagement. From the get-go, they found Boardable very intuitive. They also partner very closely with our exceptional customer success team in their transition from paper and data systems to a centralized Boardable platform. Boardable's accessibility and ease of use made it effortless in engaging their board members. In fact, our mobile compatibility allowed their board members to participate fully, regardless of location or device. It was a game changer when we helped to streamline agenda creation, meeting packet compilation, which reduced their meeting preparation time from days to hours. That's incredible. And this is just one customer's journey with Boardable, highlighting that transformative power of the right technology in nonprofit board management. So think how this can apply to your board today. Next, we've got practical tips. So I hope you're super excited. Let's dive into some useful tips to get everyone started on Boardable. So a few recommendations of quick and important steps to tackle. First, start reviewing your user list. Check to make sure your user list is updated, everyone has the right level of access, and that their information is up to date. Next, we do recommend putting together a checklist of the top 3 priorities your board members need to accomplish to hit the ground running. So for new board members joining, this could look like accepting that Boardable invite, logging into the platform, and locating that meetings tab to find meeting agenda and documents. We found this combo as a starter pack for Boardable success, designed to get everyone feeling good and ready to dive in. Next, we've got communications. We know communication is key to ensure everyone's on the same page. We certainly encourage you to introduce Boardable and highlight how it's going to further support your board's impact. Next, we suggest drafting a clear roadmap for rolling out Boardable. This way, everyone knows what's coming up and it's aligned on the next steps. And finally, be sure to share the free resource available to them in learning more about Boardable, like our Boardable Academy and the Help Center. And no worries, we'll review these resources in just a bit and also share them with you after the event. Next, Boardable Champions. Remember Visit Mountaineer Susan from earlier? She is a perfect example for Boardable Champions. Assign someone like Susan on your team. This person is your go-to guru, chosen for their enthusiasm and willingness to support others. They're the cheerleader and the coach, ready to guide people through Boardable with encouragement and helpful tips. And what worked great for Susan was that she offered assistance and ensured no one felt left behind in that transition to Boardable. She created a supportive and inclusive environment where everyone feels empowered to engage and contribute. In short, your Boardable champion will be the catalyst for a smoother adoption process, helping to create that culture of teamwork for platform usage across your board. So Susan is an all-star, as you can tell. Next up, Boardable routine. Our customers make Boardable the go-to spot for everything important, from agendas and meeting minutes to those must-have documents, because having a central location for board operations makes their lives easier. It becomes a routine, naturally. So imagine this for your board members. They start their day with a peek at Boardable, where they easily review the next meeting's agenda, they complete their action items from the last meeting, and they quickly find the document needed for the discussion later today. By weaving Boardable into regular tasks, you're not just using a tool, you're boosting teamwork and making everyone's lives a bit smoother. So we encourage you to make Boardable a seamless part of your regular board experiences. You will be rewarded for it with fewer headaches and maybe a smile on a Monday. So certainly celebrate early wins and successes. A fantastic way to get everyone onto Boardable is celebrating those early wins. We got a food bank customer who previously struggled to get meeting quorum. Ever since they started using Boardable, login for virtual meetings, they now always have quorum. In fact, Boardable helped them with engagement so much that they actually get more done with fewer meetings. This transformation was expedited because their board members found value and they shine the light on those positive results. Every success story is a shout out to your teamwork and how Boardable is helping you streamline your mission. So keep spreading the word about great things you're achieving and cheer each other on. Every step forward is a step closer to your goals. And finally, next slide, available to you 24/7 are these resources. We have the Boardable Academy. This is self-guided training with 2 to 5 minute videos you can follow along. We also have a help center. These are articles you can review and keyword search for different topics and find help there. And finally, our support team, they're a terrific resource for you. And that live customer support goes from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. We'll share these resources and also in the follow-up email going out immediately after this event. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jenny for a quick poll.
Yes, once again, really just wanting to understand where you all are and make sure that we're meeting you and meeting your needs. What do you consider be the most critical factor for a smooth transition to Boardable? So excited to kind of see these results. We'll give a minute for votes, and then we're going to hand it over to Ilaria after that to kind of walk through some of the specifics within the platform for you. Okay, a couple of clear winners again. I do think that the biggest winner here is integrating Boardable into everyday routines and operations. This to me is something we were talking about internally the other day. Just change is hard, regardless of if it's a positive change. Making new health habits or making new processes is always hard, and so we're really here to try to make that easier and make integrating Boardable into those everyday routines and operations as simple as possible. But really, that human behavior of, change is hard. It's really once you start to experience the value that the change becomes more motivating and easier. So really, our goal is to get you and your board members to that point. I'm going to go ahead and have Ilaria jump in and have a great overview in the product.
Thanks, Jenny. My name is Ilaria Constein. I am the Senior Customer Success Manager here at Boardable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a live walkthrough of Boardable from the perspective of what board members will value most. You're going to see firsthand from the board member perspective just how simple it is to hop into meetings, find documents, and work together like a dream team. So it's all about making sure your board stays connected and in the loop. First things first, there's a couple of ways to access Boardable. You can either go to app.boardable.com/login, or we also have a desktop and mobile application for ease of use. The first action item for board members will be to accept the invitation after you have sent this to them as the administrators on the account. Once they accept this invitation, they will be able to put in their first and last name and their password, and using these credentials, they will be able to log in from here on out. Once they are logged in, they will be taken to your organization's Boardable homepage. So what I will do right now is I will log into my Boardable account to show you around from the board member perspective. So as you can see here on the screen, this is the Boardable homepage. When board members log in, they will see your company logo, your message here at the top that you want to share with them. Any groups or committees that they are a part of will appear here at the top for easy access. Then they will also be able to see any meetings, discussions, polls, as well as tasks, all on the homepage. We'll get into what each of these aspects are a little bit in a little bit. But first things first, I will always urge board members to set up their profile. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that I have my profile image. Most often when board members first log in, they'll see a blank icon. I have them click on this blank icon, click on user settings, and from here, they're able to update any profile settings. They're also, most importantly, I guide them to their user settings here, where they can update their notification frequency for important notifications regarding upcoming meetings, collaboration in Boardable, and tasks as well. Once they've updated these settings, I would suggest to review everything that is over here on the left-hand side. So that's just what we'll do today. We're going to start with documents. Documents are a place for board members to collaborate as well as review any documents that have been uploaded by the organization. As a board member, they see this very clean view of documents that are a part of their workflow. They can click into a specific Boardable document here, and they can actually review this document all on the same screen. They can annotate, allowing them to add in highlights, comments, collaboration, all right here through Boardable, collaborating on a document. Once they're finished either collaborating or reviewing a document, they would just click the back arrow to go right back to Boardable. Meetings are really the core of Boardable. As you probably already know, anytime you're invited to a meeting, you receive an email notification with a link that takes you directly to that meeting page. Meetings are also accessible by clicking here on Meetings and then into the specific meeting. Once arriving here into the meeting page, board members are able to easily join the web conference by clicking on this evident blue button. Board members are able to easily review the agenda right here. So they can review the agenda. They can click on agenda items to add in a personal note. This will allow them to bring up a certain subject or idea during the board meeting and save that here to their personal Boardable account. They're also able to open up the board packet. The board packet is a printable resource or a resource that can be opened on a web page. On a board packet, you will first have the agenda. And then after the agenda, you will have all of the supporting documents that we've uploaded to the agenda. So we'll go ahead and take a look. Here, I do want to point out this will be your organization logo, your meeting information. And then here we have our agenda, and these documents that we have uploaded to the agenda will appear right below the agenda for easy access and review. Going back to Boardable, from this meeting tab here as well, they can review any documents that have been uploaded to the meeting by easily opening them, just like we did in the Document Center. And then once the meeting is complete, they can review the minutes PDF. The minutes PDF is automatically loaded there to the meeting page, and board members can review the minutes after they have been published. Next, we'll talk a little bit about groups. Groups allow board members to collaborate either between committees, volunteer organizations that are meeting, one-off groups that are meeting to do a special project. Ultimately, groups are like a mini Boardable. Board members can have meetings that appertain to a specific group or committee, documents, discussions, and everything else that you have for the general board, but for a specific group or committee private to those members that have been invited to that group or committee. So any information shared here can be kept private and secure between the board members that are a part of this group or committee. Next, we'll talk a little bit about discussions. Discussions allow board members to collaborate within Boardable, allowing them to post messages. Anytime a discussion is started or a new message is posted, everyone will receive an email. they can actually respond to that email directly through their inbox, and the response will be recorded here within Boardable, allowing them to just delete or archive that email right away so that they don't need to keep that email trail, because everything will be recorded right here within Boardable. So should they ever need to go back and look at this information, everything is recorded, password protected, rather than keeping a bunch of email trains in your inbox. And then before we get to the end of this live presentation, we'll talk about polls, tasks, and goals. Polls allow your organization to ask members a specific question, whether it's volunteer opportunities, approving of the minutes. It's very simple for board members to answer a poll. Once again, they will get a notification. They can click on that notification or write here into a poll. They can choose their answer, and then the person that has created this poll can track responses. Tasks, similarly to polls, can be assigned, and board members can see their tasks right here in their task list. If it is a task between multiple members and there's collaboration needed, by clicking on the task, they can leave a comment, attach documents, and collaborate all right here within the task until they want to mark it as complete. And then goals allow your organization to track monetary percentile or numeric accomplishments. As a board member, they can keep track of goals that they have been invited to, and they can actually click into a goal to review a graph progress of that goal, as well as written progress, so that we are all working towards the same goal. Finally, I will mention, if you haven't found these resources already, but I do want to make sure that we point these out, especially to our board members, our support resources down here at the end. Our support resources allow anyone that is logged into Boardable to contact our support team directly to start a chat with our live support team members. They're wonderful. No question is too big or too small for them. We also have a help center. Board members can keyword search for specific topics. Articles are rendered with easy to follow guides, as well as we also have a video academy. With that, that ends our live presentation, and I will pass it right back to Jenny.
Awesome. So we are never done innovating here at Boardable. So our product team has been incredibly busy over the last, I've been here maybe 9 months myself, but over the last year or two, in really upgrading lots of different elements of the platform. In our most recent product innovation webinar, we dove deep into our mobile app upgrades. Those included a couple of things I wanted to highlight that are particularly important for board members. One is Face ID, which is a really common functionality that a lot of us use to make our payments on our Apple devices. You now can log into Boardable the same way. And then we've also launched our push notifications in the app, which really just are a way to drive board members back into Boardable and make sure that they're aware of all of the things that are happening in their instance and with the board at a higher level. Custom data collection, we've hit on a couple of different times in different webinars, but this is a feature and functionality that if you haven't adopted it yet, I'd highly recommend you reach out to Ilaria or Sandy and learn more about it. It's really a great way that you can capture your board member information, either them submitting it or you putting that in there, and having that tied with their user account and record, and being able to run reports off of that and track progress over time, and lots of different areas that we know nonprofits like to report on. And this is truly able to be customized for whatever's important for your organization. Probably the most exciting thing that I'm going to share today, I would say, is we're getting ready to do one of our biggest releases ever, and that is a Boardable Video and a reimagined meeting experience. And so Boardable Video is going to replace Spotlight as a video conferencing tool. It'll leverage AI. It has a modern state-of-the-art video conferencing interface. I've been using it on calls and it looks amazing. And so we'll be releasing that at the end of May. And then with that, there's also kind of an overall reimagined meeting experience. And That word, I mean, even when I say it out loud, it's like, okay, what does that mean? But really what that means is that the meeting experience is going to be unique and different for board members versus admins. Right now, the experience is very similar, but there's a lot that board members don't need to see, and we want to direct them to the things that they need to see. And so that's going to make that experience easier for them. And then it's also just going to be easier for all of you that serve in that admin role to build a meeting, create it, publish it, do all of those things that you need to. So it looks awesome, and it's one of I would say the most exciting releases that I've been a part of, and so really excited for you all to get to experience that as well. We can go ahead and jump to the next slide. We also have a webinar coming up on May 21st where what I just talked about, we're going to see in real life. We're going to show you it. We're going to dig into that. So that'll be the Boardable Product Innovation webinar, and that'll be on May 21st. So hopefully you all can be there. David, who is doing the chat right now, will be a part of that, as well as myself, and we'll dive deep into all of that. I also want to say it is big, it is new, it is different. But it's better and easier. There's not like the learning curve actually goes down. Even if you're used to today's, that learning curve will go down. I also do want to note that the AI and transcription are always optional. So if that's not something that's right for your organization, totally cool. You can, never have those turned on. So just want to make sure everybody knows those things, but super useful, functional tools for everybody, and improved accessibility, improved stability, just so many things that I think you guys are all going to be really happy with. And we're hopeful that if you use a different meeting tool, that you take an opportunity to explore Boardable Video and see if that might be right for you as well. We can go ahead to the next slide. And that's really the content that we have for today. So I'm going to go over here and see if there's any hot questions that we need to answer, but it looks like a lot of these did get answered real time, which is great. But like I said, really excited for what's to come. Hopefully today's webinar was super useful for all of you when it comes to understanding just a new feature perhaps, or a new area of the product that you didn't know from Ilaria's overview, as well as just all of those tips and tricks that Ilaria and Sandy are able to offer. They talk to hundreds of customers a month and are able to really leverage that experience and then say, hey, our best performing customers do these things. And so I would just encourage you to listen to them because they do see how the best of the best, and then also how those organizations that are struggling, maybe some of the areas where, hey, this little small thing made a big difference and was able to kind of change their overall experience with Boardable, but even more importantly, their overall board engagement and board effectiveness, which is really the end goal with a lot of what we all are doing. So is there anything else that you'd like to add, Sandy or Ilaria? Okay, seems like we're good to go. I'm not seeing anything crazy coming in through the chat or through questions. And so we'll wrap this up and look forward to seeing everybody for the next webinar, where we'll talk about that new meeting experience in Boardable Video. Thank you so much.